fellow compatriots, on 12th August, the people of Zambia decided to replace the culture of self-centeredness with a culture of selflessness. They decided to vote against the culture of division in favor of a culture of unity. The people of Zambia wanted to replace a sense of despair with a sense of hope and divine purpose. Zambia is not like another country. Zambia ought to fulfill her destiny to be the lighthouse of Africa and many other nations beyond the continent of Africa. 2 months after 12th August, the people of Zambia have woken up to the crude reality that some of the expectations that they had are far from being made. We don't want to be too quick to judge the UPND government, or shall I say, the MMD-led UPND government. And we in the UPP are very clear about this. The people who suffered for the UPND from its inception 20 years ago, some of them died. They committed their resources because they wanted Zambia to unite. They wanted a Zambia in which each and every citizen would wake up without being judged on the basis of his or her color, on the basis of tribe or creed. The people of Zambia have, since 1991, been yearning for a Zambia in which all citizens are equal, a Zambia that offers equal opportunities to all, a Zambia in which every citizen can wake up and pursue their dreams to be who they want to be and be part of the rebuilding of our republic. But this has eluded them for over 3 decades. We saw in 1991 the MMD government being taken over by some of the same very bad elements that were part of the running down of the NEP government. The same trend continued. Eventually, of course, in 2011, when the PF government took over, we saw a culture of the same elements being recycled back into government. We've seen the same trend continue under the UPND. The UPND was boasting that it had many qualified people, and that the problem that UPND would have was to appoint you to a place where, otherwise, it had, according to what we were saying, that it had a very competent human resource base. Now they have the power today. Why should it take 2 months to appoint people to key positions in order to let the wheels of government run, the statecraft? You need to understand that whereas, like even in the districts, whereas you can have district administrative officers run offices, those are technocrats. They are not policy holders. So we need policy makers of any party in the government to be in charge of driving the policy agenda, because there are 2 things in government. You have the driving of the policy agenda, and then you have the driving of the administrative wing of government. That's how the statecraft runs. So the civil servants, the technocrats, they're the ones who run the administrative wheel of government. And then those who are appointed to political positions, they run the policy agenda. Now, what is the policy today? The policy is based, or shall I say, is predicated on the promises of the UPND. Not the people of Zambia, not another group, but the UPND. They promised jobs to all the young people, that all young people are going to be employed, the teachers, the clinical officers, the doctors, the nurses, and many others who graduated without jobs. So to the young people, 12th August was graduation day from unemployment. The people of Zambia expecting the kwacha to be strong. The people of Zambia expecting the fuel prices to get lower. These are the promises that you made. Zambians didn't make these promises. You promised. You promised to lower the prices of essential commodities. You promised free education to the people of Zambia. Free education is free education. There can never be a new definition. When you say free, it must be free from preschool or from early childhood learning through to university level. You promised. And it would be unthinkable. It would be stupid. It would be utmost foolishness to expect any political grouping to aspire to form government in order to go and spend the money they will find there. Because to every expenditure, there must be a plan on how you are going to raise the revenue. And this country is not rich. This country has all the mineral wealth that anyone can ever imagine. There is no country on earth as well resourced as this country, Zambia. Zambia is not going to develop by our leaders going with a little plate to go and beg. You go and ask for $18 million, $20 million, when you are living billions of dollars in this country. In the reserves that we have, in minerals, we're talking about gold, emeralds. You're talking about the Mkula, among many other natural resources, the arable land, the water resources that this country has. This kind of mentality of going to beg with a plate, every time government is formed, you want to look at how much money you're going to borrow. This country cannot continue on this path of borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. We can't move from Gefuba. We move from one level to another of Gefuba. This is not what this country deserves. Zambia deserves better. If you can have difficulties to make ordinary simple appointments, then how are you going to drive the economic agenda of this country? The people of Zambia are not going to eat wage. The people of Zambia want real food on their tables. They want jobs. They want a strong kwacha. The people of Zambia want a stable economy. And a stable economy will not be delivered by talking by how many news conferences you have, by spending 3 hours on a news conference. That's not what is going to deliver jobs to the people of Zambia. Incumbency is not defended by how much you talk. Incumbency is defended by action. You have the instruments of power. And that's why we are so concerned with the quality of appointments. You replace someone probably who is a performer, even though it was under that other regime, because we expect, in fact, all of them to go. On day one, all of them should have been fired, removed from their positions. And then replace them with your team, so that you can be held to account. This is what we expect. We cannot take 2 months. And then even this culture, where you are saying, no, if you, colleagues in the UPND, you are campaigning for the UPND because you wanted positions, because you saw a permanent secretary in a given ministry build a mansion, and then you also you started now envisioning building of a mansion once you become PS under the current government. You cannot say that. Building a house is not a crime. Just the salary of a permanent secretary, the package of a PS, it can build a mansion. So let's not mingle these things. No. Building a house is not a crime, but to build that house from the money that you have earned as a controlling officer, as a DC, as a minister, as a permanent secretary. Ministers, some of the ministers are business people. And some of the civil servants are business people. There's no crime in Zambia. Someone can work and be earning 5,000 kwacha, but they can have a business, which is giving them a cantemba, a store, whatever you call it, which is giving them 20,000 kwacha per month. So as long as they're able to explain the source of their wealth, there is no crime. So this culture of intimidation, this culture of trying to rule just simply by talking, making utterances, threatening those who suffered with you. They suffered with you not because they wanted jobs. They suffered with you because these people love Zambia. These people want to see a kind of change which is going to inspire confidence, a change which is about the Republic of Zambia. And it was not a crime to let these men and women who suffered, because after all, when you suffer for something, you understand its value. We cannot continue on a path to keep recycling the same people who overnight they join, they leave their groups after destroying the country, and then you expect change. How about Einstein? Once said that you cannot bring about change using the same mindset that you had when you created the problem that you have today. So we cannot continue on the path of going back to the same people who were part of the creation of today's problems and to expect them to solve today's problems. We don't expect that. So we in the UPP are seriously urging the UPND government to get to work, the UPND government to let the wheels of the statecraft run from the policy perspective as well as the administrative perspective, and to give space to policyholders. What is happening right now is a very dangerous culture. You say one thing and you do another. Even the culture of violence, which has continued. This must be condemned. You cannot say because the PF was violent and therefore it must be violent. UPND and the PF are just the same. We've been saying this. It's wrong to say so. The fact that somebody killed a person, therefore I've assumed power, I must also kill another person. What kind of leadership thinking is that? This country expects leadership, which is going to be magnanimous, rise above board, and understand that Zambia is not a personal farm. Zambia is a republic. It belongs to all of us. Each and every citizen has an equal stake in this enterprise we call Zambia. And we expect action, and not what is happening right now. You say this, no, we are not interfering with investigative wings, and at the same time, you are taking a list of people you think they are your opponents to be persecuted, using the same culture of using agencies of the state. We saw a culture under the PF, where the RDA was placed under the purview of State House. UPP became the first political party to condemn that. Some of them today who are leading the so-called parties, they were part of the system and they defended it. They defended contraction of debt. Today they are condemning the same debt, which they are part of contracting. And then again, we see the same thing happening when it comes to fight against corruption, where you have these agencies of the state being controlled right in the State House. How do you expect to fight corruption like that? Corruption is a system. And therefore, what we need is to address systemic issues in the governance of our republic. This is what is going to sustainably help Zambia achieve her glory again. This country was once glorious. This country was a producer of many industrial goods. But today, Zambia is importing nearly everything, including second-hand bumpers, second-hand knickers. We're just importing everything. Now, these are things that the people of Zambia can make. Why should you import a toothpick? A toothpick made in China. These are some of the enterprises that we can let young people run and supply. Now, this is not going to happen by recycling the same people or by talking. Those young people, the graduates, they need jobs. The people of Zambia need food on their tables. Farmers need a system which is functional, where they can access credit, they can access all the services that they need in order to produce food for this country. This is what we expect. The mining sector, the same thing. Mine workers have been the most abused by mining corporations. So all those mine workers, they're expecting action. The pension system in this country is in tightness, it's in chaos, it's chaotic. All these are things that must be addressed. There is so much to do. Zambia is like a patient who is in an intensive care unit. And the patient who is in an intensive care unit needs emergency attention. This country needs an emergency style kind of response to creating jobs for the people and also ensuring that we give the power to what matters to the people, and that is on the ground in the district. That's why we are concerned with what is happening right now. You go, even on a campaign trail, you are busy campaigning. Meanwhile, the people of Zambia have given you members of parliament, they have given you the instruments of power. You are failing to appoint. Meanwhile, you want to have more MPs, you want to have more councillors. When you are failing to utilize the ones that you have. All those people who suffered for the UPND, they did not suffer for the UPND in order to come and let the same kind of people with destroyed mindsets to be supervising them. It's incorrect. Some went to prison. They went to prison not because they are stupid, not because they don't love their families. They went to prison for the love of the country. And this love is beyond the UPND. And therefore, if you do not cherish the people who have labored for something, and then you go and pick eaters will just come to eat. After eating, they will abandon you. This is the way it is. But those who suffer with you, they understand the vision. So what they are saying is, appoint people who understand the vision. Because the people of Zambia want all these promises to be delivered. We also want to caution against attacking businesses. It is important that we separate between a person, a natural person, and an artificial person that is a company. You cannot go and attack a company. No, just because this company belongs to a member of another political party, let's go and attack. No. Let's remove businesses from the smallness of our politics. It would be stupid to target businesses. These businesses Some of them have employed, even if they've employed, let's say, 5, 10 people, their businesses respect them. Remember what happened at one time to Donald Trump? He owed many lenders. Now, a decision was made by banks and among other lending institutions that no, his company had to survive. They said, no, we need the Donald Trump whatever organization or these companies to run. Because if we close all these companies to try to recover the debt, we are not going to benefit. So instead, let these companies run. You have these own issues. I'm giving a practical example. And he was able to repay some of the loans and so forth like that, and that enterprise was rebuilt. So this is what we expect to happen in Zambia. Don't target businessmen and women. This would be wrong. Because a businessman will do with any government of the day. So it will be wrong if you are doing business then, unless truly you have concrete evidence. But otherwise, when it comes to how government runs, businesses have nothing to do with how government runs, even with tendering processes. Businesses only go to tender on the basis of what has been floated. That's why we are saying it's important to address the systems. We'll be having a major news conference, but we thought that it is important at this stage to caution, to give this free counsel to the UPND, that it's time for you to get to work. Do not behave like as if you're in the opposition. You have talked about the money. No, we didn't find the money. Which money didn't you find? If you didn't find the money, haven't you found the copper? Haven't you found the gold? Haven't you found the emeralds? Haven't you found the waters? Haven't you found the land and brand in Zambia? It's sickening. This culture of someone to blame must be condemned and must be stopped forthwith. We are tired. It's obnoxious. The UPND government did the same. They spent the first 10 years saying, no, we need the weak economy, counter destroy the economy. For 10 years, they were blaming the UPND government. But they had the power. The PF did the same. They were blaming the UPND. And then you want to continue this on the same trend? No, gentlemen. We can do better for Zambia. By action. Incumbency is defended by actions. Incumbency will not put food on the table on the tables of citizens just by talking. There are more issues that we'll be talking about. But what we want is to let you ensure that you become ready to run the government. Right now, you're not ready. It's very clear you're not ready. Why did you aspire to take over the reins of power if you are not ready to govern this country? And we want to seize this occasion to approach the people of Zambia to see what is happening for themselves. This is wrong. We have Zambians in the diaspora. When West went in the diaspora, he poached Magande, he poached Fikare Kufundanga, and within a short time, we saw how his administration delivered on what he promised. You don't need more than 1 month or 2 months to do these things I'm talking about. Some things are doable on day one. Because after all, you've been in opposition. You are in opposition for about 20 years. And every opposition must have a shadow cabinet. You must have a shadow mayor, a shadow, DC, or whatever positions that you have. You must have people in mind. You must have list A, list B, up to third, fourth options. We don't expect any delays. And therefore, we urge you to give space to policymakers and to never interfere with institutions. We are watching. We'll be speaking on these issues during our major news conference, soon to be held. Thank you.